Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a DIY Your Scraps video using up the last bits of my Cocoa Daisy Noted collection before I put what I'm going to keep into my stash and, uh, you know, purge the rest so that my stash doesn't get out of control. I have these frames that are actually from when I cut out some papers for my memory planner layout, and they ended up being these perfectly square, fun, Polaroid looking frames. So I'm creating two journaling cards off the bat with these frames. I can put photos on top of them or slide them in underneath, depending on what I need when I get to that. But first I'm going to make some fun clusters. And this one actually kind of threw me for a loop a little bit because I needed something interesting, and the 4x6 size was making me struggle a little with this rectangular sticker from the sticker sheets. I eventually get it worked out, but the struggle was real for a minute there. So I'm kind of repositioning this sticker, at least trying to reposition this sticker so that it is a little bit higher. And then I'm going to put these journaling strips down at the bottom. This makes a fun layered card that you can just slide a photo into and jot down your journaling, and everything is already done for you, which is why I really like these DIY Your Scraps videos, because everything's already done for you, and it adds, when you end up using these scraps that you have made into something new, it looks like you put in a lot more effort on your layout than you ended up putting in because you had already previously done this. So you get the bonus of having really intricate, fun layouts without having to spend an hour on the layout because you've already done the work for yourself. So I'm going to take a lot of these journaling cards because I am not using journaling cards much this year. I'm going to take a lot of them and I'm going to make them into something else, because if I just stick them in my journaling card box, they will be lost forever. So instead I'm going to take this one and I cut off the clipboard and I just turned it into a journaling spot instead. And I'm looking here and I'm trimming down this journaling card so that it is the right size for a memory planner rectangle. The inside rectangle of that frame was memory planner size because I had cut out the rectangle for the memory planner spot. So I just used it as a guide to trim down this journaling spot, and I'm not going to trim it vertically because I figured it might be kind of cool to overlap the memory planner spots. So if I need to trim it down later, I will, but I'm going to leave it long for the moment. Trim down this journaling card as close as possible to the words, and I'm just going to make a fun little layered, bannery sort of word art spot. I loved this, adding in this bow from the Pretty Little Studio die cut pack. It's so cute. It's like a little bowed journaling spot or word art spot. Gonna trim this one down to memory planner size as well. And I'm going to trim off the bottom of this one to be the right size. Perfect. Because I had those words that were all cut off, so I wanted to make sure that I got rid of those. I'm going to put this moment up at the top, trying not to cover up that washi too much, but I'm going to add in some hearts. Simple, easy, fun. I'm going to trim this one down to the right size as well. I made sure to keep that word art in the squares as a sort of jumping off point for the journal block. I'm going to add in a geotag. I'm kind of looking around, seeing what else I can add in here. When you're down to the bottom of the barrel, sort of like what you have left over, it's always interesting to see what kind of combinations you can make out of what you have left over. So I'm always trying to think a little bit outside the box when it comes to that. Trying to decide what I want to do here. We'll move on to this card that has like all of these art supplies in it, and I'm going to make a fun little card celebrating craftiness with some of these office supply things that I probably wouldn't incorporate into my regular scrapbooking, and some journaling strips. It ends up covering up a lot of this pattern on the journaling card, which I'm actually okay with because it was kind of wild and crazy and loud, so you just get a hint of all of the art supplies in the background while making it something more usable for my scrapbooking style. If something doesn't seem to suit your scrapbooking style, you can always change it. Don't be afraid to cut it up, cover it up, edit it in any way that you need to make it work for you. After all, you pay for these products, so you should do whatever you want to them to make them work, right? Because you paid for them. So I cut off the back of this Be Good to Yourself card, which had these sort of clips with journaling spots on them, and I saw that before I cut the Be Good to Yourself, so I made sure to cut it so that I had 2 of those strips left over that I could use for something else. And then I cut this spiral bound notebook out of one of the journaling cards to be a journaling spot instead. And I'm going to layer it over this 4x6 card that's cut down, or that, actually I think this was an actual card. It wasn't cut down from paper. The other side has places for journaling. But this side was a pretty solid viney sort of paper, so I thought it would be a pretty good background. Adding in these butterflies, or at least trying to. There we go. And then I'm going to add in this begin here. Begin here, be good to yourself. Seems right to me. You have to be good to yourself so you can be good to other people as well. So I have these journaling strips that I want to use. I'm going to cut this down into memory planner size, and then I'm going to layer it with some of this fun paper that is left over from that other journaling card I cut down. Then happy day. I have these left over from when I cut out the circles from a layout that I did, and I really want to use it, but I can't figure out exactly what I want to do with it, but I'm going to come back to it. Pull out these paper strips that I have left over. So I'm going to trim down these journaling strips so that they don't have so much excess white around them. And I'm going to create 2 clusters, one with each. I really liked these fun journaling strips. They're a little different than your usual label sort of a feel. So let's see, what are we going to do with these? I'm going to make some layered journaling strips. Less of a boxy sort of a thing, more of a cluster. So I initially just glue these down onto this camera, but it feels a little flimsy, like I need to add something to it. So I'm going to glue this whole thing down to this purple paper strip, and I'm actually going to trim around it so that it's not a rectangle, and just leave a little bit of an outline of this purple for fun. That way it still has the same effect as before, but now it's a little bit more solid and won't fall apart, and also a little bit more interesting. I'm going to add this hello to the top of this pink paper. And I'm going to cut this one into a banner, and then I'm going to layer it with some other scraps that I also cut into a banner. My go-to when I'm trying to layer paper. And I find a place for these frames. I'm going to cut just 2 off and use them as a sort of paper scrap in the background layer. And I'm just going to staple it because it's so flimsy that trying to glue it would have been hard, so I'm just going to staple it. Cute! And add this paper airplane to the top, because why not? So I have some scraps left that I'm looking at, trying to decide what else I want to do. I don't really love the yellow mustardy color on this journaling card, so I'm going to trim it down so that it doesn't have it anymore. And I'm going to layer it on a journaling card instead, cutting it into a banner. I like the mustardy color better on the camera for some reason. I don't know, it seems a little bit more bright and fun than it did on the journaling card. And I go with this washi tape and then change my mind. I just stick it here for the moment, but I don't end up using it. Add a little journal strip on the bottom. I really want to use this because every picture has a story to tell, and I kept trying to use the horizontal side and it was just too big for everything. And then I realized it also said the same thing on the other side, so I cut it off the other side, and now it fit better. Put it on that camera background, and I'm going to cut out each of these journaling strips so that they have black lines on the top and the bottom to make them a little bit more interesting. Then I'm going to layer them onto this journaling card as journal strips so that you can see the cameras in the background, but because the word art says, because every picture has a story to tell, you can still tell a story. I'm going to trim these down so they don't go all the way to the edge. And then I'm going to trim them down again because they're still too big. There, and you can still see the cameras at the bottom, so that's cute. Add another one just for fun. Oh yeah, let's just cover them all up. Never mind. Alright, that works. Whatever. Sometimes I get a little overzealous. Man, I really did cover it all up. Lastly, I'm going to cut this out of the yellow that I don't like and create one more little journal spot. And then call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. And if you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Tracy M. Reed. And if you're interested in subscribing to Coco Daisy, you can mention my name at checkout and get a $10 off coupon. All right, thank you.